Hey YouTube, it's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul, and welcome to another remake video. Today, we're going to be remaking Desiigner's track Outlet, so let's get straight to it. First things first, let's set our tempo to 124 beats per minute. Give ourselves a 2-bar region, and let's get started off with that first sound. Let's bring in Logic's orchestral, brass, and we'll be using the full brass preset. Let's go ahead and draw in that pattern. So there is the default pattern right there. I'm just going to go ahead and open up the EQ. I'm just going to boost a little bit of the highs here. Not that one, we don't want the shelf. Something like that. Makes it a little bit brighter. Next, let's go ahead and create a new software instrument track. And we're going to layer up this brass instrument with another brass instrument. We'll be using Logic's French horns. And it's essentially going to follow the same pattern here. On these French horns, I'm going to go ahead and bring in an overdrive plugin. I'm just going to get these a little bit more raw sounding. All right, next let's go ahead and bring in one more horn sound, brass instrument to kind of fill out this section. All right, so let's go ahead and create a new software instrument track. Let's unsole these for now. I'm gonna bring in a third-party plugin that's going off my screen here. It's Native Instruments Contact 5. And we'll be using a contact library, and it is the Studio Linked VST Trap Bang Contact Library. And we're going to be bringing in the Brass Bang Bang Brass right here. Brass Bang Bang Brass preset. Let's load that in. And let's close that for now. And we get something like this. I'm just going to cut off some of the highs here. So let's filter out some of those highs. So that gives the sort of the low brass feel that we need for this track. Next, let's go ahead and just stack all these together. And we're going to create a track stack because I want to apply effect to all of these tracks into one big track. All right, so the first instrument that we're going to put in here, or the first effect, is a EQ. And we're going to get this sounding sort of as if the sound is coming through a telephone. So let's go ahead and filter out some of those lows. Next, what we want to do is boost some of these mid-range tones here. And I'm gonna sweep, or I'm gonna cut off a little bit of the highs as well. So we get it sounding as if it's coming out of this sort of old telephone. Next, let's go ahead and just drop this volume down because we're going to bring in some distortion in the overdrive plugin. Next, let's go ahead and bring in a quick delay. Let's use Logic's tape delay. And we'll use a preset that I like to use. It's called EDM delay, and this is not really an EDM track, but it's just an 8th note delay. And finally, let's go ahead and bring in that reverb because there's lots of it on this brass section. So we're bringing Logic Space Designer. Let's bring in a large space. We're going to go to rooms and let's just use this first one. Why not? All right, so that is our brass section right over there. I might just drop this down 1 octave. All right, so that sounds good just like that. So for the intro, let's maybe arrange quickly. This goes something like this, and then it comes into this. And then we're going to copy this over once again. And then our drums are going to hit up in this part over here. But this, I'm actually going to pitch up 1 octave. I think it gets a little louder once the drums come in, or a higher octave rather. And I'm going to duplicate this over 2 octaves. It just gives it a fuller sound once the drums come in. All right, so let's go ahead and duplicate this, something like that. We'll go for a full 8 bars. And let's go ahead and bring in some drums. All right, so let's go ahead and create a new software instrument track. We're gonna bring in Logic's EXS24 sampler instrument. And we're gonna bring in the drum kit I put together for this tutorial. Now, a lot of you ask me, how do I put together this drum kit and why don't I include that part in the videos? Well, essentially I just look through my samples and find one that matches the sounds in the song. And that usually takes a long time. So I don't really want to put that in the video. Otherwise you'd be watching me just sort through sounds. And there's no fun in that. So this is just a quick version of it. So let's go ahead and draw in a 2-bar region. And I'm going to start off with the snare. Next, let's just go ahead and apply some reverb on the snare. We'll just stick to the default settings here. And we're going to bring in an open hat. All right, next let's go ahead and duplicate this track. And let's bring in some hi-hats. I'm going to bring in my brush tool. And let's go ahead and start painting in some hi-hats. Then we get a little stutter effect happening over at this point. I'm going to duplicate this pattern. All right, there's the hi-hat pattern right there. My computer's acting really slow right now. I'm sorry guys for that kind of laggingness right there. I might have to shut down this video, restart my computer and continue it. But before I do that, I just want to add in this overdrive right here. And let's just make this a little bit more sharper. All right, next, let's go ahead and bring in those 808s. Let's go ahead and create a new software instrument track. We're going to bring in Logic's ES2 synthesizer. Let's just close this so we have more screen real estate. And we're going to bring in that 808 preset we use for every remake. Let's worry about the sound design after. Let's just go ahead and draw in that pattern. Change this to the pencil tool. All right, let's open up our ES2 and manipulate this sound. Let's add some distortion. Let's bring in some drive. Now we don't want this so clicky, so let's go ahead and bring up the attack. Let's bring down our sustain. And bring down our release a little bit as well. All right, so there's our 808 pattern right there. One last thing before we go to the B part of this track. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this over. There is this sort of angry mob sort of soundscape in the background. So I'm just going to go over to my Apple loop section here and search in, let's type in crowd. I think there's something there. All right, so let's take that angry crowd right there. I'm going to bring that in. And this is just going to sit in the background. Let's just chop it up there and chop it up here. We get something like this. Let's just solo out this for a second and just filter out some of the lows. Some of the highs as well. Next, let's go ahead and work on that B part. Not much changes, but let's get to it. So for this B part, what changes here is this full brass sound right here. We're going to move that over. Let's also make this 8 bars. Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and just push this up one full octave, because this goes up an octave. And then for the drums, everything pretty much stays the same. So the snare stays the same, the open hat stays the same. The only thing that we are going to bring in right now is a kick. So let's go ahead and create a new software instrument track. I'm going to bring in Logic's EXS24 sampler instrument. I'm going to be working with the same drum kit. And let's go ahead and put in those kicks. And also the hi-hat pattern changes as well. So let's go ahead and just put that in here. What essentially happens, all this comes out. And I think it's this section that we get a 16th note repeat. Ooh. Where's my brush tool? No, it's one over here. So this goes for about 8 bars, like I said earlier. And then what we're going to do here is bring this back in, and it comes back into there. All right, so let's just go ahead and push everything back here. And we pretty much got the entire arrangement down. Now, of course, the song is a lot longer, but these are the different pieces in the track itself. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the remake we just put together, Outlet by Desiigner. So that is Outlet by Desiigner, remade in Logic Pro X. For your Logic users out there, as usual, I'm going to place this entire session for you guys and place that as a downloadable link in the description box below this video. For your non-Logic users out there, I am going to go ahead and export all these MIDI stems and include the drum kit and samples I've used in this tutorial, so you could import those into your own DAW and make your own remake of Outlet by Desiigner. If you do have any questions on this, you can ask me in the comment section below. If you did like this video, remember to thumbs up, share the video, and of course hit that subscribe button for more great videos like this one, and I'll talk to you all soon. Later.